Hi, my name is Jarren, and this is my Crystal Fountain Castle. This is kind of a upgraded version of a model that I had a few years ago, but it's kind of been redesigned to have a lot more of a unique aesthetic and story to it. Kind of this castle rising up out of the water. Took a lot of work to try to get down the angle right, to get the gems to move in place. And slide from one stage to the next. But once I got that angle just right, it was just a matter of repeating it for each stage to get that effect.
Yeah, it's really nice, and just the fluid motion with using the blue diamonds throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, so it's just all those little blue diamonds. Actually, I was at the Pick-a-Brick store, I don't know, it was probably 5 years ago, and they had those on the wall. And I said, I will buy all of them, please and thank you. And then I noodled around for a while of what to do with them, and this is kind of what came of it.
How did you decide on kind of the height of each tower here as this was built up?
Yeah, so really that was the angle that the gems could move at. Any steeper, and they just kind of would just roll in place. And any shallower, just didn't really give the height. So this was really like the max angle to get the most height out of the build possible.
Oh, very impressive here. So take us through kind of the mechanics of this a little bit and what all do you have running in there?
Yeah, sure thing. So there's in each tower, there is a Power Functions large motor, and that runs the upslope, and it runs the little flatbed that's on each section. And there's a little pulley in there so that if there's any jams or snags, it'll just spin in place and not burn out the motor or burn through gears. So that took a lot of trial and error of what's the best solution, what's the best speed, what's the best power. And I'm running it all off of two of the old 9-volt train motors. Battery packs die really quickly. The train motors give me a good variability in the speed. If one side's running slightly faster than the other, I can just tweak the speeds to get it just right.
Is there a certain limit to the number of diamonds that you can have running through this?
If you put in too many, each kind of dump stage starts to overflow. So it's about one Pick-a-Brick cup's worth.
Yeah. So you've got to try to make sure it doesn't get too full then.
Exactly. And if they kind of overflow, then they just fall back into the base or sprinkle on the table, and it's not too bad.
So how has this been running so far for you?
Pretty good. Just a couple jams on one of the stations, but replaced the rubber bands, and it seemed to fix it okay.
You've also got some great lights in here that really add to the effect of the build as well. How did you add those in?
Yeah, those are just an LED strip with sticky backing to them, and I just ran them along the outside there. And then my fiance really helped with all of the fun detail work, so all the flowers and the stems in there. She's like, you got to make it really pop and not just make it look like a gray building. And I'm like, okay, great, you can help me with that.
You got to have some decoration on there.
Yeah, absolutely. So she kind of brought it to life there with that little pop.
You've got the kind of moving mill wheel almost there.
Yeah, so this kind of is supposed to hit the water and it'll spin around. You got to get the height just right, because if it's too high, it doesn't spin at all. If it's too low, it'll jam up. Sometimes you just got to hit it with your finger, and it'll go for a little while. It's kind of a fun little extra feature.
Sure. So is this an idea you want to expand on in the future and maybe try to go bigger or do other variations on this?
Yeah, I've had a lot of different ideas. The Great Ball Contraption is one. I've never done Great Ball Contraption, and whenever anybody sees this, they always ask me, why haven't you done Great Ball Contraption? So that would be fun to integrate that into this. Other ideas of like larger water wheels or more of like a waterfall style effect would be something I'd love to play with.
So this is a great build, but you also have another fantastic build next door to this. So both have great lighting. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this build?
Yeah, for sure. So this is the Kent Theater. This is from my hometown of Cedar Springs, Michigan. Grew up going to many movies and plays, so kind of has a special place in my heart. And when I joined my local LEGO user group, they do a lot of city and town layouts, and so this was like my first contribution to that. A lot of fun details, using obviously LEDs to light up the sign and the posters, and then I'm using EL wire for that neon effect, and it's very nice because it's very flexible and you can bend it, and it clips right into the regular LEGO clip pieces.
Yeah, the lighting obviously is what makes this stand out, but the whole building is great. So is there any interior to this?
There's a little bit of a ticket booth on the inside that you can see through the front window, but the rest of it's just structure and hiding all of the mess of wires and electronics inside. So yeah, it's kind of most of my builds are just junk on the inside that you can hide and paint over with the nice brick brush.
So tell us about kind of the architecture on the outside then with the roof and the masonry.
Yeah, so the actual building has the brick facade in the front. So this build was when the profile bricks first came out, so I used those heavily. Along the side is kind of that more it's like steel siding, so it's kind of very smooth and flat. And then the roof, making it super easy, just a big flat panel and adding some texture, similar to that aluminum roof style with the mix of the tile and the open exposed studs.
So you've got great lighting in both of these. Is that something you always try to incorporate in builds, or kind of a challenge that you add in as the build is going on?
It's something new that I really have played with recently. I think it just adds an extra dimension to the build that you may not get from just an unlit model. So it's something I really enjoy, and especially here at Brickworld. For attendees, we have the World of Lights, where all the lights are shut off in the hall, and I think it just brings an extra element to have that just pop and kind of stand on its own in the dark.
Well, great models here. Thanks so much for bringing them out to Brickworld, and congratulations, you're nominated for Best Special Effects over here as well.
Yes, thank you so much.